In what ways has the juvenile court played a role in advancing local probation reform?
Yeah, thank you. So probably over the last 12 years, there's been a lot of things that have been implemented at the court. And so I'll kind of list those as we go through. So we've implemented effective practices in community supervision, which is a curriculum created by University of Cincinnati, which teaches probation officers how to structure their appointments to be most effective with youth and behavior change. The court hired a training person to help onboard our new staff, provide support, coordinate ongoing training for our existing staff, and kind of keep that consistent. We hired a JDAI coordinator to help the court support those principles and initiatives. The court created the Programming, Training, and Quality Assurance Unit, which, along with training and quality assurance, they also vet and attract quality programming for the youth and family that we serve. And then in 2019, along with collaboration with multiple other child serving agencies throughout the county, was the creation of our Early Intervention and Diversion Center. And so that was it's a new way of how we intake youth and decide whether they're diverted or not. And so the main goals of that center are increased diversion opportunities to be equitable for all youth throughout the county, hopefully increasing our diversion rate, as well as we want to provide mental health screening for all youth coming to the attention of the court to address any of those needs. And so through this process, we can reduce the amount of misdemeanor youth placed on probation, and we've actually eliminated the unruly youth being placed onto probation. So if you took a snapshot of what caseloads look for probation supervision today, 79% of the kids have a felony level offense, which is, we're moving in the right direction on that. So our EIDC ties the same types of services that our probation youth are now offered, to our diversion youth. And then we've allowed amongst that diversion population, but those unruly youth also have those opportunities, really eliminating the need to have those non-criminal behaviors go to a probation supervision type of program. We've also enhanced specialized services for girls through the creation of our Promise team. So that program is gender responsive and trauma responsive. And then as a department, we try to maintain youth in the community as much as possible. We want to exhaust our community-based interventions. We shifted our mission statement to be more strength-focused and family-engaged. We are reducing the use of detention as a consequence for technical violations by using graduated sanctions and incentives. And we have all actually decreased our use of detention for technical violations by 36% between 2019 and 2022. And we have more plans to increase the use of incentives for those kids on probation supervision. And then finally, we're connecting more with the community. There are a lot of great agencies, or not even agencies, but informal people in the community that are dedicated to helping youth and families. And so we really have made an effort to collaborate with those partners. And so our court has added 20 new grassroots agencies to our contracts to the benefit of our youth and the community to help reduce recidivism.
I would like to ask next, how long has the juvenile court been dedicated to advancing probation transformation?
I would say since 2011, informally when we started implementing EPICs with our probation officers, but formally in 2019 with the creation of our Early Intervention and Diversion Center, and then the Probation Transformation trainings offered by the state to lay that foundation.
My next question is, what are the goals of the juvenile court in pursuing probation transformation?
Sure. So in addition to what I talked about with our Early Intervention and Diversion Center goals, it would be to invoke behavior change with youth while successfully keeping them in the community and ultimately making the community better. But we want to reduce recidivism and do no further harm to youth and families. The court is committed to having the appropriate youth maintained in detention and, you know, residential facility. But in the same breath, we want to maintain appropriate youth in the community with ties to those supports and things that can help them further their success, have engagement, because once they're done with us, they're still in the community. So we want that success to be sustainable. So we want to off-ramp youth as early as possible from the juvenile justice system because that leads to better outcomes. And we want to prevent unnecessarily pulling youth further into the system, again, because that's going to lead to better outcomes.
My final question is, what makes the transformation of probation so crucial for the population we serve?
So it's important to keep up with research and trends of what works. And so that research tells us that the old way of doing things, compliance-based and things like that, it's not working. And we're not reaching those goals that we have. So we need to evolve as a system to do what's most effective. And remember that we're working with kids. You know, youth are different than our adult population, and they should be treated so. And that's merely through adolescent development. So that needs to be considered when we're addressing their behaviors and mistakes. And so it's crucial that youth are treated differently than adults, and that's why it's important that we have two different systems. And we keep them separate from adults. So we need to, as the juvenile justice court, we work with families. We're not just working with youth specifically as the offender, we're working with families. And so that's important to address to really sustain the positive change that people have made.